Okay, the stream doesn't need to know this. And we're live. You know, it's always that thing when hitting start, and sometimes it don't take long, sometimes it takes longer, other times. But it's like, do I jump right in because people will see it after? Or do I wait because I want people to be live? Well, to be there to be there while it's live. Um, G is in the house as well, and we'll know a little bit about what I'm talking about. It's an amazingly, we are mostly having a good evening compared to the day, and I don't really know what to start to say other than that he's gonna have to let me just send the dog upstairs. I imagine. Uh-huh. And okay, might be the piano. That does almost maybe a little bit feeling better for me because that gig that I almost got and doesn't look like I've gotten it. I wouldn't have went with the piano because even if I had not biked, it's still kind of large. Um, so we got someone that just tuned in, and where shall I start? I think at the beginning makes sense. No, I was watching a fellow streamer who I've seen a couple times, and he's still streaming at this very moment. And the person left, but whatever. Um, Sometimes it takes a while to build the following. I know I do have one. Where are you guys? And something kind of interesting occurred. Well, you could say more than one thing, but one thing in particular. Two things. More than two things, but three things in particular. This is getting very mathy, isn't it? No, but I initially kind of shared a little bit with him about. I didn't get as specific as I did with T-Talk, but I kind of alluded to kind of how the day has been, and you can see the day in the life, or much of it anyway, in the other lives today, and it actually and his chat is quite active, but it actually kind of seemed to. He wasn't angry or anything, but it seemed to kind of stir him up a little bit. Um, I would guess, unless there's no feelings or just what he's doing for himself is helping so much that it was maybe a long time ago the one thing he was sharing because although it's um, although it's always a hard thing, and you know the other person. We have two people here, and again, we can deal with the triggers as we need to that many of us may have. But to go through, I'll maybe get a bit more specific in a few moments here. But and he probably knows what I'm talking about anyway. But do you anyway? To go through these things, I would say that with time it does get a bit easier, and you kind of equip yourself um, with things that help, and you learn things, I guess. But anyway, so the other thing that transpired is with what he shared, and I am not an avid songwriter, a musician, sometimes songwriter. Um, and so I saw somebody in a songwriting group recently asking actually about, do you ever write a song in character or something like that? And I guess it's kind of close to what I kind of did because I found myself write what I thought was an intro. It may have been a verse, and then there was a chorus, and a title came into it, which is kind of in this one's title. And I think I even got a second verse in, and then I was looking at the note document. I even tried to go backwards. I went back to the video, and then I went back to the document, and it wasn't there anymore. And what kind of popped into my mind fairly quickly, although it was an interesting process to go through. Um, it wasn't my story. It wasn't my story, and that I'm here to tell my story. Another thing that popped into my mind is that I and many others may never live um, a bohemian van life type of life, but we can sometimes do it in our dreams, in our creative writing. Because I said I didn't realize when I started it at first that might have been what I was doing. I said I wasn't exactly that close with my brother growing up. I mean, we do have somebody watching. Do feel free to join the chat. It won't distract me too much. I mean, we had different moms, and his had him living in various places, and he sometimes visit over the holidays. I was quite young, so a lot of this I don't quite remember. As we got older, well, I mean, speaking in some proudness and some jealousy, at a fairly young age, he moved to Australia. He was just in mid-teens, I think. And any Australians that know the band Geerling might know of him. He was in that band for, I'm going to say, 10 years maybe. Then I don't know how much of a gap there was. He switched over to music producing. Self-employed like my dad was, like I'm trying to be. Because even if it hasn't been working, it seems, or mostly hasn't, it seems to make the most sense to be trying for that. Not necessarily in just one direction, because I don't, not to talk about the band, but not that, why not, maybe, but my ADHD wouldn't do it. My number of interests wouldn't probably let me do it that way. And I don't really feel like that's what's holding me back. Oh, yeah. Thanks. So they both are good. Anyway, rolling now. Anyway, and so basically, I did remember the title I gave it. I almost want to sort of remember, just to kind of give me a bit of a start, the lyrics that I did put into it. Like there was a part about spirit in hand, ashes and urn. Now it's our turn. There was a part about cry, cry, cry underneath the starry sky. I think of you, it also makes me smile too, something like that. There was another couple little bits at that part. And yeah, sometimes we have to take imaginary journeys to heal and grow and find answers to life sometimes, perhaps. It's not something I've thought about largely, but I'm sure I have thought, and we had somebody there for about 6 or 7 moments, and then they're like, oh, they must have been like, finding answers to life is a hopeless endeavor. So you're not talking words I understand. No, just kidding. So yeah, let me just quickly check something here. I haven't been down forever. It's not that much after 9. It just feels like it is. Oh, we got a like. Cool. It doesn't say anybody's. Oh, now it does. And I'm curious who we got watching. And I still have a strong desire to collaborate with people, and you don't have to be sorry, you don't have to be a writer. You know, I mean, in some ways, we all are. Whoops. I think the crinkling lost. I don't know what did, but they seem to have. Anywho, not necessarily positive that they look like they were going to stay, but maybe they're just having a connectivity issue. I don't know.
I really wonder sometimes because when I was podcasting, 3 people were there, then nobody's there, then 3 people are back again.
Yeah, and it happened a lot last night, but we know how well it went then. So I mean, got to remember that too. But I am kind of browsing a songwriters group that I'm in that I haven't done a lot in. And hopefully the person came back, but anyway, yeah. But, trying to find where I sent. I think it was on this device actually. Okay, so you're gonna want this. Here you are.
Right.
Have fun. Remember your med. Huh. I just have to. The name is a bit weird because the first part looks like it's in English letters. The second part looks more like a symbol, like a butterfly or something, which I know a lot of people feel is symbolic. I don't hugely. And I don't know who this person is. They posted that the title is semi-ironic as well, because it talks about stars. I'm a little bit confused why he says I'm gay, so I can't just have a. Why he says he is on anyone. I think he's cute or something. Anyway, again, that's not my story either. We can let other people inspire us. We can certainly do that. But whether it's creative or simply just talking, we have to remember and realize when it's our story and when it's not. So I think I know what I want to do with this next, and it's a little bit of a surprise to me because of something that happened today. But I'm going to share an original. I'm going to start with one that I already have written. I haven't played it often, but and it's about. I feel like it's relatable because, and you can tell me because, and I don't know if I've ever played it on the piano, just guitar mostly. We all relate to feeling far away from those we love. Like, I can't remember if he said he said he thought a lot about him. He didn't write lyrics. I think he said he thought a lot about his brother when he was drumming and just kind of, writing music but not lyrics. So, and I know that there are actually a lot of people out there who would like somebody to put lyrics to their melodies and melodies to their lyrics, as well. Those people too. And it could have been that, but maybe it wasn't meant to be. Maybe that wasn't, and the disappointment I had earlier today, that day could come and it could be raining, in which case I wouldn't be able to play my guitar outside anyway. At this moment it's still a little bit disappointing, but it very well could have happened that way. So yeah, I'm curious, even if this doesn't really relate to your life, in a super obvious way, I'm curious how this song how you might relate to it. I know when I've thought about that, I may not be articulating it very well now, but I've thought about how this song could be relatable. I'd rather hear it from the viewers, though. So I'm just going to get myself set up with my water over here. And which I thought I had around here, but should I go into the kitchen with it, Nikki? No, I just don't see it, but that's okay. I appreciate your patience here. Oh, here it is. Yeah, sure. It's fairly good temperature. The viewers left. You know, I can blame them if I want to, and I do. As much as it's more, I mean, it's too cold for our neighbors to be sitting on the porch like they often do, so they probably won't be. That's fine. Don't really want to have it on fully because that's warmer. A little bit, anyway. You know what I did do, though, just kind of going back to that fellow YouTuber's live stream, which he kind of just records his day-to-day van life. I've only seen 2 or 3 of the videos. One I watched for quite a while. This one I was in there for about 30, 40 minutes. Is he seems very articulate. He seems like he might be good at writing lyrics. And I did happen to share the first part as I came up with it before I had the rest of it. His chat is very active, and I mean, I use it for whatever reasons felt right to me. So he may have been seeing more than I was. But if it still shows afterwards, or he scrolls way back up intentionally or not and sees those lyrics, who knows? Maybe here. And I did also repeat them in here. If he ever sees this, you know, or if he ever asks about the song, and maybe it'll, you know, maybe the little bit that I did remember will be helpful in launching something, his creativity. But yes, so there was somebody very briefly there, but I'm gonna, when there's not anybody here, because it's a little bit of a slower process to write while live streaming, but I think it's a neat process. And I think I think that it's kind of a cool thing to do. So but I do realize, and sometimes it actually flows pretty seamlessly, but to some people just tuning in, it might. So you know what I might do is I might put the lyrics here. So we do have someone here though. So I'm going to start with the one that I have already written. I don't know if I need to, but just really quickly, a backstory. This was inspired, many in the viewer left, but whatever. People might see it afterwards. Maybe they didn't intend to, like, say possibilities, you know, maybe the device died or whatever. This was inspired by many years later. I'm going to say I wrote this song probably about 12 years ago. As I say, he moved when he was about 14 or 16. He's 45 maybe now, or 46 maybe. getting pretty darn close to 50. And so whatever that math is. And I was thinking about, I hate to kind of interrupt this now that I've started this, even though again there's nobody here. So okay, let me just see for a moment here. I mean, yeah, as far as those lyrics that I lost, by the way, I did save the document. I've even tried searching for the word sun. I did save the document. I have a few things open. I have 2 in this one and 3 in this one. And I think I've looked at all of them. Like I don't know if it's still somewhere there or really what happened. I really don't know. But I have used the word sky and sun in some songs before, apparently. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll find it and share it. But right now, like I am seeing some stuff I wrote that I recorded. There was also a very vivid image based on something that he showed us on the camera about the pine trees on the hilltops at sunset. Let's add that in there because that was part of it too, actually. But I'm going to take a moment and ask myself something. I'm kind of surprised it's been a very podcasty day that I'm even rolling right now. And the fridge is looking open. Oops. Did I put another one in there just out of curiosity? No, I didn't. And I am finding it. Okay, I don't have the door open. And honestly, for as cool as it felt like it was earlier, it doesn't really seem to make its way into here. Earlier, can't complain. I wonder if there's something to that post that I found and how open do I want to be in that songwriting group that I could be. And it's also very interesting how I just came across a random lyric to something else that I wrote, and yeah, there's the C word, where it says, I see England, I see France, I see you, and we should dance. Come on, take a chance. That's why I love France. Trying to think of where I'd like to go, where I'd like to be. If I think about places that he's been, that might be a good starter spot. And if you want to use the letters in his name that are chords. Really that many notes between the E and the B? I haven't never noticed that before. I like that actually. B with an F sharp. Okay. So, E with an after E. Okay, so I'm going to share an original I already got. Curious how you relate to it. Hopefully, you can hear me over the AC. I just turned it on. If you can't, let me know. I mean, I'll probably be singing at about the same volume I'm talking at, to be honest. Um, okay, whatever. Yeah. And I do feel like when there's somebody not here, even though people might see it afterwards, I mean, I put a bit into this already. That's when I should work on this song. So, I guess that's the chords in the name. It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. If we wanted to put middle name in with it, the letters that are chords, we'd have just an E. But sometimes that can be a good way to get a melody. Went to Mississauga, I missed you then. I forget where else in Ontario you lived and been to. You moved to Australia. You've been to Japan. On the Rolling Stone magazine cover, and then also been to Sweden. I just held on the E a bit longer there. Sweden, into England, and now France. And have I been right, I've been to see you there in Australia. But otherwise, sometimes I feel I barely know you. It's a little bit chilly. I could put my socks on, but I don't. I want to make sure that I'm being heard. I want to, I want to make sure that people can hear this. So, I feel like the AC might be a bit loud. Let's see, what else do we got here? I wish this had a back. I think that chair would be too low. I don't think we have a high enough chair. These chords just go so well together in so many songs. So at this point, I'll switch over to these ones. On the spot writing, folks. Really goes on for me. Brother, you're so far away, and we rarely get to see. But I write, and I think, and I feel. It's so real, so real. When I take the time, a little surprised I'm doing it now. What I'm trying to do, me dad and so many proud. Trying to be there for others who don't even seem to know but some do. One arms I barely even know, just like you. Blessed in that band, I understand. That was hard. So young when he got in an accident with his work car. It was actually a truck. And Robbie said, now what will we do? I'll tell you, you're hard to reach. I'm worried about you. Sometimes the file I sent don't seem to play. This is YouTube, and maybe it's the better way. How are you doing? And I know that you care, even though you are distant and perhaps quite unaware, or you don't know how to help, and you're used to your life. You finally got married to your beautiful wife. Are you having kids soon? Apparently you freak out between jobs producing and the next to seek out. But I think it's better for you, though we try not to compare. You're living there, I'm living here, and it's quite a contrast. Maybe it's all going fast, often for me kinda slow, and I want you to know. Maybe go back to one of those other lyrics that I started with. It seems to make sense. I'm gonna put this on again because I'm shivering. I'm gonna send a message, I think, and then I'll send an email to the email. But I'm proud of you and the things that you do. Yeah, you're someone that's special to me. Yeah, we share the same blood. All are more alike than different. But out in the sun, we are half siblings. We look so alike. If it wasn't for the age difference, you might think we were twins, but and I need to explore beyond the shore, and I can't get very far. Sometimes I'm not even out of my area, this neighborhood, which in some ways is good, but it's not all I want. No, it's not all I want. And it may only take forever. Only take forever to be success, financially stable, and fair abundance. Happiness. What a kind of life you can and you have me. Is the grass really green? Greener on the other side. So I get on my bike and I was gonna try and do the chords from earlier. The B flat seems to have worked. I don't know what to put after that because it didn't seem like the E. I get on my bike and ride. Take a walk and observe and maybe stop and talk. Think of the angels I have with me, the ones that are in heaven and those I rarely see. I'm just writing a song on the spot. I've made some, and somebody tuned in briefly. Again, I know they either have been here before and they're like, oh, we're talking about angels. Not quite true, not quite untrue. They're like, oh, that makes me miss mine or whatever it is. You know, this is the thing. We can't go through life not touching on somebody's sensitivities. You know, we may not know what they are. They may vary from, time to time, and even our own. We just got to try and be understanding and support each other and lean on each other. And yeah, but anywho, um, at least I did kind of remember some of those lyrics. It was, whoops, and I accidentally sent a star. Suppose a star, in some ways I could go far. To get the way, I live for the day. Maybe someday I'll sing out when I'm out. Maybe I'll start a random conversation. And if you've seen earlier videos, just kidding, but truly, then you will know what I hope for early this week. And so, but yeah. I want it to already be off when the person tunes in the AC. I don't want to get up and then think as soon as I get here, he walks off screen. What the? unless of course they're familiar with me, or they can be patient for a few seconds, and then they'll know what the, and they'll be like, heck yeah. Um, um, but considering I might send this to my brother, is there anything else I'd like, to say to him if he sees this, and he might not, but he might, I feel like he doesn't check messages super often. He's not really online all that much. It's interesting to also think, he's his own person, I'm my person, but there's ways that I'd like to be like him that I could be. But I don't really want to go rock climbing. I don't really have the stamina or the desire to really go for long hikes. I do try and, get some good walking in every now and then. I'm not technical enough, and I don't think I ever would be, and I don't really kind of want to be either, to be a music producer. I am looking to be in a band again. Sometimes that can take a little while to find the find the right people. And I mean, there are some messages that I've sent out on Kijiji in response to such posts, and the people just haven't seen them yet, or they've already found someone, or they've changed their mind. And you really see a real variety of this one's new and has me a little bit curious. It's an interesting last name for next projects. It doesn't necessarily sound like band. Basis 30 plus years. I don't know why he's hiding his age. Says 40 something. Why not be specific? Yeah, I don't understand 5-string basses. I've heard of them, but I thought they had to have 4 strings. I don't want to wait too long, but I do want to check this. I was on that site. Okay. I do want to check this out. Sometimes it takes persistence and really looking into things. It's an interesting picture. You know, I go to his band mix and I find his YouTube. That's very interesting. So the subscribe to the YouTuber that I was mentioning earlier. I thought that was Ray. I'm gonna put the AC on. It's just too hot. Whoops. No, stop that. Stop it. Too warm. Too stuffy. Was saying how he started van traveling. Even though it's not my story, tell a little bit. And if you're curious, I can maybe let you know. I did say I give him a shout out. I asked if he was okay with it. He didn't notice that comment. So I won't say who I'm talking about right now. But anyway, his brother passed away 2 days later. He bought this van and started trekking around the States. I don't know how long he's been at it. I feel like one of his videos had in the title, it said how many days he was on. But, and he brings his brother's ashes with him. I guess that is kind of favorite. But, and it's very interesting also, just putting on lotion, because my hand's dry. Just kidding. This says that he's been in bands, and there's one that was called, had the word ashes in it and another ironic name. Most recently, says send me a message, phone, or email, but I'm not seeing a phone number or an email address here. Level of commitment touring. I'd love to say, yeah, I'm down with that. And it really speaks to this whole idea of going on a journey. However, I have somebody I live with who has a job and wouldn't rely on doing that, wouldn't want to do that. You can do so much locally. And if it's touring locally, because he may have created this a while ago, because his Kijiji posting says that, or where did I see this? Not really interested in too much travel. So he's changed his mind on that. So that's good. And it's not that I'm not, like I say, but we'd have to leave the dog. I don't really feel like I can really afford to travel. But then busking would be good kind of gigs, and winter's coming here, so that's not great. Flexible when it comes to price. Rehearsal time and equipment needs. Cows will drink around while I was here later. Ask my current and former bandmates. I slightly feel like he might be talking himself up. Yeah, see, he posted this in 2012. I like Rush. I don't mind Zeppelin. I watched some interesting dance versions of Stairway the other day. Okay. I'm liking what I'm seeing, so this is good. And I don't want to wait too long, but I do want to also try and play some of the file samples on here just to see what I think of his sound. In writing, he sounds like he'd be pretty good. We shall see. We shall see. And I've always loved bass. There, it doesn't quite look like him. But I think it's a black and white photo. His hair might be slightly colored and differently styled, but I would say it's him. Anyway, people aren't here to watch me try and find a bandmate or argue. I don't know, because hey, maybe it'll be a success story. I can't say it, but maybe I can live it. I know I can. And then people will be like, "Yeah, I saw when that kind of started off for you, and look at you now," kind of thing. And that would be pretty cool. Really want to play his tracks. I really want to play his tracks. I don't know how much it actually has his full name here. I don't know how much I want to maybe try and see if he's on another social site, and send him on there too, in case he doesn't check where he would get the notifications for that, or he doesn't have them set and he thinks he does or whatever. And also, I'm kind of just curious. But then there's also a little bit of me that's kind of like, it's not that I am a judgy person at all. Well, it says he hasn't posted on one site since 2024. At least it looks like that. Funny that he's a burger indulging bassist when it's burgery. Not me. Yeah, somebody's got her own black cats. Okay. G has one mutual with him, but it's a local musician, but we're not that close with the guy. And he's really been focusing more on family lately. I think family and faith. All the power to him. So it doesn't look like that'd be a good way to reach him anyway. But I did reach out to him on the thingy. I do find it a little bit weird that he says something about. He mentions a couple way of contacts there. There he actually says his full age, and this was Oh, active within 24 hours. So maybe he updated that. Okay. Um, but he doesn't actually have those methods of contact showing anywhere here that I'm seeing. Oh well, I figured out a way. I'll keep you posted. Um, and that might just come in the way of somebody saying, "So, have you been lately? What's new?" And maybe I'll actually say, "Actually, I don't want to." Again, I don't want to live it too much before it happens. I did not do that with this gig, by the way, that I was been on about. But you know, I don't want to be faking it. I want to be talking about things when they're actually true. You know, so it has potential, and we'll see. Um, it was the only new one since I last looked a few days ago. Oh, well, I'm gonna do it. If I did that earlier today, I don't really like it. It's nuts. Definitely has a collection of basses. Like you said, 4 and 5 string. Let's play the cube. Something about that yellow shirt makes me think not hetero, which not a problem. But I haven't been on this one site for a while. So anyway, obviously this has me very curious. You know, I'm a little bit hesitant. It's like I'm wondering if I'm going to hear them and think, ooh. But you're going to try and see positives. Are they going to be stronger than the ooh? But maybe there won't be an ooh. So we can hope because I need this, and he needs this, and we need this. So yeah. Okay, so I actually did kind of write a full song. I think um, I have some of the lyrics here, not very many of them. The rest I'll have to come back and get maybe over the weekend or later tonight. I kind of want to show it to G. Like I said, he was 10 or 15 years age different from his sister, and they've been living in different provinces and not getting to see each other very much. So when he was distracted, but he was doing something he does often, he was able to kind of focus on both. And I mean, yes, I was watching what I was watching, but I glanced over a couple of times to see how what that guy was saying resonated. I also had um, typed a little bit of what I put in the chat and a couple of the things that he'd said. And I'm going to have to look back at that too. And yeah, he kind of seemed not affected, G, by it. I mean, not obviously so, but maybe those are the reasons. And knowing that the sister is going to pass away potentially soon, and there's not a whole heck of a lot we can do about it. Think about the good times, even the recent calls we've had, the fact that she's heard some of our videos and music and things that we've wanted to say to her, even if she's been kind of dipping in and out of conscious awareness. Is still very precious, appreciated, special, and that we have loved ones where she's at that can bring that to her. Um, this isn't quite an hour yet, but it's pretty darn close, and there's nobody watching, and there hasn't been most of the time that I've noticed. But I also, like I say, have been working on lyrics. I've been looking down at the piano a little bit. I was looking at that other thing, so. But it doesn't look like this has been a very active one, and sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. Today's kind of been that way. Last night did quite well. Other times, sometimes do well. Usually, mostly in the chat and while live, and that's when I usually get likes. So I don't know if they actually go to the notifications or not. But to round this video off, unless we get to a chatting, it is a Friday. He got a bit of a late start doing what he was doing, and the viewer left. I could probably roll for another 30 or 40 minutes. I could possibly. I'd kind of rather I don't know what I'd rather. I really do value people's lovely comments and chatting and building sense of community here on YouTube and being there for each other and all that. I really do love that. And making content, but then there's also a part of me that's kind of like, yeah, I kind of just want to do this. Last song for the night. I won't be able to go to bed right after. Check out that guy's music. Hopefully, like what I hear. Hopefully, not have to wait very long to hear from him. Get the ball rolling, and let's do this thing. You know what I mean? And you mean what I know? He joined Facebook around the year that I probably did too, because 2 years after high school. Okay, sure. We'll see. We shall see. In the meantime, and maybe I'll do the spoken introduction about this song afterwards, because if somebody tunes in during, um, it doesn't even really need to be done, but I feel like I'd like to the kind of spoken part, but and we have posted this ages ago, even with other instruments, but I feel a little bit mixed. I feel like I somewhat don't have the energy, and I also kind of feel like, why? Other than that, it fits the purpose. It fits the theme and idea behind this song. If I do send this to him, he's maybe not heard it yet, and I guess I'll just say, Rick, that I don't mean to make you necessarily feel bad or whatever about what I mentioned in this song. I know that you know um, there's always things in life that we might do differently at times, such as, you probably have already thought of the fact of, well, if dad worked less and I had been more around, even though in some ways I think you were a little bit closer to him, but maybe not. And I mean, I was the one that lived in the same home with him more, but say he worked a lot of stuff, right? So I mean, some ways we kind of relate to not being close to him, but and we did both go with him to some of his blacksmithing jobs and stuff like that. I don't remember doing that together, you and I, very much, but you know what? It is what it is. It was what it was. It was meant to happen in life the way it did. And I feel like with age, well, I don't know if I'd say just with age, but I feel like you've come to accept, that, and you try to have a positive mindset, and you try to just, do him proud in your, interactions that you have with people, and your ethics and your values, as do I. And that's probably why he's proud of both of us. Not probably, it is, you know, and we do that in different ways, and we have different lives, and not necessarily different abilities to do it, but different or different amount of opportunities to do it sometimes in life. But so this is a song that I'm curious how, and the person left, but whatever. But anyway, I hope you will hear it with an open mind. Why did I write it? Honestly, because I missed you. It was one of those days where it's just like, I wish he lived closer. I wish we were a little bit more connected. And being close to people is a double-edged sword. They will eventually pass away, or whatever, or become more distant, in your life. And then it's this longing for what you used to have or what you could have, and it can be a hard thing. But I think as long as we try and we're having good moments, and I know that I have your love and acceptance, and I don't feel like my struggles sometimes. Maybe you feel, I've thought, maybe you feel helpless. You don't know what you would suggest, so you just hope for the best for me. But you just, I know it's not that you don't care. It's just, and you may be becoming a father soon. late in life. But that's okay. I guess Dad was late in life too, because Mother was 39. He was 49 when he passed, and I was 12. So he must have been 35. Well, that's maybe old by today's standards, but anywho, just a brief moment of a message to my brother. Like I say, if he sees this, that Dad and I are really proud of you. We both miss you in different ways, and we need you, and we always will. And I hope that you're doing okay these days. And it may not necessarily. I'm sure maybe time. There's been times, not for any obvious, reason or fallout, where we have. It's been longer since we've talked, and to be quite honest, sometimes my life is so uneventful. Like I say, follow me online, whatever I happen to share, because in the moment, when you say what's new, a lot of times not a whole heck of a lot, and I don't know what to share, or I don't know how to answer that question. But somehow I lately been podcasting almost every day, sometimes more than once. I don't know, just talking about life, man. Just talking about life, just talking about the things that we've been through in it is maybe something we could do more. I don't know if you're much of a songwriter, but I know that you've played instruments in the past. I think you can have a way with words, but first of all, realize that birds make noises make their sounds in all seasons. You said something a while back about how it's nice that it's spring, um, to hear the birds. And as much as I got that, yeah, I couldn't but think you do hear them throughout the year. At least I'm pretty sure, in my 30-ish years that I've been living, that I've noticed that. I still remember we went to Australia once. Well, when I went to see him, and we saw a kookaburra in the tree, and it was just sitting there quietly, like some kookaburras. And we sang the song to it. We probably tried to make the noise, and it just looked at us like we were the kookaburra. I mean, it was kind of disappointing, to be honest. Um, I guess it was just tired, and maybe it had just went on for a while, and it was resting. Maybe it's just like, oh, just another traveler or human singing my song and making my noise at me. But that's a memory I have. You didn't hang out at the lovely suite that I stayed at while I was there very much, and I don't even remember being. I mean, how long was I there for? A week? I know we went to that riding stable. Um, I know you taught me. I'm sure you taught me a couple recipes. Unfortunately, I've forgotten. And how can you bring just pancetta? Like, isn't that just a meat? Like, don't you do anything to it? Like, I'm thinking about when you had your Christmas with friends there. And I remember when we went to a certain club. That was interesting, right? Yodels for the win. Woohoo! And I don't remember how I shared a certain something with you. I just know that you still love me. And that's worth something. You know, the fact that we don't have a sibling rivalry, the fact that we actually do have things in common as much as we have a lot of differences. I mean, most of us are more alike than we're different, from each other. I mean, yeah, some of this has seemed like it's been just for my brother, but I mean, yeah, so when he moved at about 14 to 16 to Australia, like I say, a number of years later, I wrote this song. I'm curious and the person left there for a few seconds, what ways you might relate to this. It feels weird to not finish the spoken introduction, but It's almost as if I'm not meant to do it, or at least not at the beginning. I don't know. Do I remember the chords? That's the other question. I agree with that. It was so sad when you moved far across the world. The closeness that we have. Oh, yes, I'm glad. There's a different chord change somewhere there. You found success doing what you do best. Though I idolize, kind of wanna cry. You're so fine now. So I agree with that. It was so sad. I really thought there was more chords than this. When you would walk across the world, the closeness that we have. Oh, yes, I'm glad you found your word. This is where it changes, isn't it? But I kind of feel maybe not exalted to the ground. Not lost, but not found. Not lost, but not found. You moved to the land down under. I know why, but I also kind of wonder. It's been a while since I've done this song and all that, so by now. So I agree with that. It was so sad when you moved far across the world. Closeness that we have. Oh, yes, I'm glad you found your word. But it kind of feels like it was on to the ground. Not lost, but not found. Could do karaoke festivals with you. There's just so much we could do. I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with that. But again, bro, I want you to know that I accept your journey. It's the journey you were meant to have. It's been pretty cool. It's maybe been challenging. Might be curious to learn about those challenges, maybe some of your current ones, because I can't be there for the ones that you've necessarily had in the past unless they have sat with you in such a way where you're still struggling to get through them, as things sometimes do. Um, but I can be there for the ones that you may have in the future, and it's so hard to not be jealous of people in general when you're struggling and you're stuck. Like you want to be happy for them, but you're not happy for yourself in some ways. So it kind of creates a bit of a conflict uh, internally, even. Um, but I'm very curious, bro. And if you go by your actual name on here, just email me. If you don't, though, I'd love to have you in the comment section. I'd absolutely love that. Sometimes they're a little quiet. It's just, I don't know. I don't want people knowing my details. Like, as far as like name and how to find me, we go by initials on here. Um, you know, of course, that I don't use it much anymore anyway. But I am curious about the last conversation that you remember having with Dad, which was probably kind of like I say, what inspired that song to come out of me. I don't remember the moment that it did, that it did, and around what age I was. like I say, if it was around the 25, that's when I was going through a lot of stuff, as I mentioned in one of my other videos fairly recently. But yeah, that was essentially when Dad was at his work desk and pretty much saying, don't move, my boy. You already feel so far away from me. I feel like I'm losing you more. And maybe you feel a lot of guilt for that. But again, just I know, I'm sure you know that he's proud of you now. You know, we didn't know he was going to pass away. Maybe your plan was to come every year, every couple of years around the holidays and see him and this and that. It's just a reminder of why we gotta, you know. Of course, if someone is super toxic and not healthy to be in much contact, if any, with, we have to realize that. But if they are, again, as hard as someday losing them is, we gotta cherish the people in our life and not take them for granted. Not think, oh, they ain't going anywhere. Oh, they're young, they're healthy. That doesn't freaking matter. Pardon my French. I mean, I just recently lost a friend at the age of 32. Lots of young people died. Dad wasn't that old, so I've just been very deep. I just finished an original song. Somebody did just tune in. Uh, Welcome. It's just been one of those quieter ones as far as like viewership. There hasn't even been that many people tune in. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube, and you know what? It's only honesty, you know. Because I'm sure they're wondering, oh, this only has one like. It's a little over an hour. They're not seeing much in the chat. Blah blah blah. Yeah, but you know what? Stay for a while and listen and decide for yourself if you'd like it. It's something that I would always recommend. Not just my content either. But anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this up in a couple minutes here and check out that fellow musician. My hopes when I started this video, and I guess I did kind of do it, but I didn't really have a whole lot of ideas ahead of time. And who knows, maybe I'll try and do it a little bit more. I might even, that's another interesting idea for a series, maybe, it's interesting. Like I think a lot, and that, and sometimes it's rumination, things that resolve, things that pass, struggling to figure out the future kind of thing, and this and that. But in some ways, but I sometimes honestly, I just come and roll. I get an interesting title idea or whatever, and I try and at least somewhat stick with it. But I'll come and roll and just hope that somebody tunes in and we have a nice chat. And that does happen from time to time. Like I say, sometimes it doesn't show afterwards, but you can see when you watch the videos that I'm talking with the people, the peeps, and I appreciate them so much. But yeah, it's kind of like I'm very happy with this video, even though it was kind of quietly received. What's this show there? I don't know why that's out here. I might share this with G tonight, but I don't know. Maybe not. It might not be even though I did it right, not long before bed, probably. It might not be a one before bed kind of thing. I don't know. Yes, the other day I was in this other room. I'm not on the cell phone. I'm on the laptop, so I'm not going to be putting this on top of the coffee maker. I'll put it on top of the microwave. And, there's that nice painting there and kind of a nice ambiance. But, yes, I might well start a series and maybe even recommend that you do so as well. And if you do, let me know. Where what I would do is, I kind of already do the day in the life and haven't done much with the window one. but maybe that's not meant to be. But whether it's, and it'd be actually interesting to kind of create a little like, which one do you think I did? Something about, and some of you who follow the channel might know about some of them, but most of you won't probably know yet. Whether it would be about, and if you're curious, check out my channel because of the things I just talked about, and how I'm doing or whatever. Maybe, and then the title. This is what he'll see. That fella, I forget, Danny, I think his name was. But yeah, you know, I don't know how easy this would be and what it would look like, and if I'm going to have any collaborators along the way. But I would like to maybe start a series. I don't know how to separate them, like how to. Do I know how to build a public playlist? I'm not sure. I should try though. And if I do a few of these, of course, and I'll try, and I'll truly try, at least to get. Let me try one suggestion to try and get at least like the song out first, and then if there's conversation afterwards, great. But and sometimes it'll be kind of written on the spot like this one, and other times I might try and do it ahead of time. Both can be good, but I'm thinking I might actually. I might actually. I know I was gonna say it's Friday, but we got the whole damn weekend. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. So we're gonna briefly. I think you must sense that we have a plan on the other day because I kind of alluded to it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna start to maybe do a project. It's kind of the lighting in that other room there, but where I take a little imaginary journey with either an angel of a loved one that I have in heaven, whether they can go water across the neck, we'll see. Or someone that I just feel has been kind of far in my life, or far away in my life, or that we've lost touch with. Monday might actually inspire something because I'm kind of seeing someone I haven't seen for a while. Who doesn't seem to be much of a YouTube person. She's got some health issues, and she's not a super socially active person. And I don't think she has a lot of. I don't know. I don't really know. I think I tried to ask her once, but I don't know if she said or not. I don't recall. But anyway, it's an idea I had of making an album actually about that, and then I also, I've written some. I have, I would say, written some with my dad, and yeah, who knows? But it's not something I've done a lot of, and it could be healing. Like I say, I might not be able to buy a travel van and go on long drives and live the van life and take feel like I'm taking these people with me on a journey in that way, but through lyrics, through poetry, which then is often would become a song for me probably, through storytelling, I suppose I can. And even though until G got home, today largely felt lonely, I know it. I don't always feel it super strongly, and oh, really? There's none of these left? Then why did I keep the bottle? I don't know. And it's both are important. Connections in person when we can. Sometimes it's more than other times. Connections online, and connections with the beyond. The angels of our loved ones. God, when possible. And some people will say, if they hear this, oh, it's always possible. Maybe you feel that. Maybe it's because you are able to process the Bible. I don't even really do books that much. Maybe it's because you have a church community. Been there, tried that. It hadn't all been bad. I was actually thinking a little bit earlier about someone I went to church with at one point in time. This isn't a religious podcast. It hadn't all been bad, but it's not my current. And I don't think that if someone chooses to be, a religious believer, because we all need the strength sometimes that a lot of us believe we can get from it, and answers or whatever it is. You don't have to be a churchgoer for that. Do I miss it somewhat? Yeah, but I don't think I'd ever go back. Would we try another one, knowing that she's open to it? Maybe, but we already formed connections. Yeah, I don't know. But you got to find ways to kind of get out there in the community. Again, not driving, not liking a transit system, and not really wanting to pay a lot doing cabbing very often. I mean, when we break it down, I mean, the customer service of that restaurant was really good, and things were affordable individually, and they were okay. But yeah, it. And now I feel like I'm stuck on this post, unless I just remember to come back to it later. I don't know if those funky letters would stand out. Got a lot of comments, which I'm a little bit curious about. Writing songs about myself and being vulnerable. I do and don't do that much on here, but stay tuned. I might do more of it. This is one of my very few platforms, and this is what I've got that is accessible for me these days. And in some ways, I really love it. In other ways, it's kind of frustrating, when you do a long podcast and it barely gets seen. But we plug on and keep going forward. I could never take myself from G and our dog, Glenn G, and I could never actually do something to myself. And that, I know he feels mixed. In some ways, he probably feels very relieved. In other ways, I guess it's kind of the fact that I'm even having that thought is sometimes hard to, but not necessarily surprising, but I'd even be thinking about it. But I can't seem to, and I don't need to be calling places that are going to ask that as part of their protocol. I can't seem to do it. So we just press on. And if you've made it this far in life, there's a reason for that, I would say. There are things that you are still meant to do, lives that you're still meant to touch. And it's so great to share our journeys with each other, and we do have somebody that came in a minute or two ago and heard me say those things, and I don't know if, and you left. So I will never know the power of your journey, the stories that make up who you are and the life that you've lived. But maybe I will come across you someday, and spend tons of time watching your podcast, not knowing that you were only on mine for a few seconds. But again, maybe your phone died. All the things I sometimes say as a reminder to myself and a reminder to other people that live stream, who, whether they're a smaller channel or a revamped channel or just going through moments where it's like that, it's like I have aphantasia and I'm very verbal. And it's like I need that reminder that, it could be anything, but it may not be personal. It may not be. So if I don't know, I don't know, Today, earlier, although I honestly think nobody was even around to see it, nobody was even tuning in, or they didn't notice that I put the comment in the side where I was asking those who do that, why do you do it? I could even make it its own video asking that. I did a short one earlier. I mean, maybe it wasn't that much in the way of content because it was short. Maybe it just wasn't, but it doesn't look like it's gotten any activity. Maybe a few views, but sometimes the numbers aren't accurate too. But at the same time, I don't want to draw huge attention to it, although I suppose I do somewhat often kind of do that. but when it happens. But anyway, if you made it this far, you've skipped ahead and landed on this point, but you've heard other parts of this video, you know that this video has been so much more than that's almost my first name, like his last name and my dad's first name. And the combination and the thing, I get it Monday, and that thing combination of names. Yeah, this video has been something special. So don't forget to like and subscribe and mention in the comments how this was for you, what thoughts came up about what I shared, as far as, how that kind of, makes you feel about me, for lack of a different way to say it, and also what it kind of brought up about your own journey in your own life. Bye for now, folks. Take care.